And welcome to the If They Can Do It podcast, the podcast that interviews absolutely ordinary people who do extraordinary things and want you walking away thinking, hey, if they can do it, so can I. And this week, y'all, this week is, you know what? It's a little bit old, little bit new. You know, we have some returning guests, but we're doing it a little bit differently because these are people who you have enjoyed listening to time and time again. And this is not going to be like a specific kind of topic in life. Like, we're not going to go over a specific thing that happened. We're just going to talk about life in general. This is going to be like a happy hour, you know, kind of a thing that you get a glimpse into just three people talking about life. And you know what? We said it in the last episode we did, life be lifing. And we talked more about high rocks last time than what we did about life. You know, high rocks was just a metaphor. And you know what? Let's not play in metaphors this time. That's all I'm saying. Let's just talk about life this time. And I think you know who I am talking about. Amanda, Steph, welcome back, y'all.
Thanks for having us.
Oh my goodness. Well, we were just talking right before we went live, and it's just like life's a crazy thing. Particularly when you think it's going to be one way and it doesn't happen that way, you know?
To put it lightly.
Literally. Is that the truth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know even just the move to Austin, like if you would have told me 4 years ago that I'd be moving from Phoenix to Austin and like now have a second child, like even having kids, like after being told that I can't have kids and then just kind of figuring it out, you know, I mean, I think that's a good way to kind of put it is stuff happens and you just have to figure it out. Like there's not another, well, what other choice do you have? I think, Stephanie, that's one thing I've learned from you. Like, what other option do you have? Like, are you just going to sit there or are you going to figure this dang thing out? Like, that's it.
Like, as I say, no one's coming to save you, right? So you have to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So
yeah. So
I think that's really like, we were talking about that too. Like just finding that strength within yourself. Like, I think that's something that we all got to start practicing a lot more.
Right. And I mean, here's one thing that I've learned too, is it's fun to say that, but then like, there's like, when you have to do it and you just have like oh crap, what does that even mean? Like, I don't know what the next thing I should do is because everything is falling around me. And even though I know it's the best decision, things are going to crumble first before they get better. You know,
Mom always says like people can talk, but can they walk? Right?
Yeah.
People always do a lot of talking, but are they going to walk? Right? Can you walk and talk at the same time? So yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah. So, so tell me about that. What's been going on that has made you kind of answer that for yourself? Am I going to talk or am I going to walk?
Yeah, like, I mean, have faced some challenges within my personal life, and I had to make a choice that was going to I was either going to make the choice that I made or I was going to sit in it for the rest of my life. So, I mean, I had to decide whether I was going to just talk or I was going to walk. So, I decided to walk and talk. You know, I mean, I feel like our generation specifically is very some people are stuck in a rock in a hard place. So, you know, people can't decide whether they are happy or whether they need to move on. And, you know, I had to move on. So that's that.
Yeah. I mean, here's a question, I guess for the both of you, because there's a tipping point. Like when we were talking about high rocks and you're doing something hard How do you know the difference between when the hard needs perseverance and when the hard needs you to walk away?
I think you really need to sit with yourself. I think that's something that I learned is because there's so much background noise in our lives. I think that we all have different, and I've said this to Steph so many times, like when we're going through things, like there's so many different perceptions that can come from so many different people, but you're the one living your life. No one else is living your life for you. So you really have to sit with yourself and think, okay, these are my options. If I go with this option, this is the potential outcome. Or if I go with this option, this is the potential outcome. Sometimes, and I think what I've learned in my own experience is that the decision that you make, it may not be easy, but it's what's best. And it's really just finding that self-worth in yourself and that self-love in yourself and that courage in yourself and strength to know that no matter what happens to you and no matter what decision you make, you will get through it. Somehow, some way, you will get through it. And like, I'm sure you guys can say too, we've all gone through things, and I know we'll touch point on a lot of them. And I know we've touched point on it in previous podcasts, but it's also who you surround yourself with. Because like Isaac, you mentioned your move. Like, that was a really tough call for you. That was really something tough for you to do. But did you have people around you that supported you, that helped you through that? And with Steph, what Steph's going through, like the people that she had that were rooting her on. And I can say like I had a village behind me when I made my decision for myself in my life. So I think there's so many different factors, but at the end of the day, as much as we have these people and as much as we're making decisions to navigate life with certain people, you really have yourself,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I know it does. And what that made me think about, with the question being like, when does the hard require perseverance and when does the hard require walking away? I think like, and what clicked in my head there is, one side of it is going to be easier to live with than the other. When you're in the middle of high rocks and knowing that it hard requires perseverance, it's going to be harder to look yourself in the mirror if you quit in the middle of the race. Right. Mm-hmm. And so you persevere through the hard because the decision to not look at yourself and feel disappointed is the worst thing that can happen. But the walking away, could you look at yourself in the mirror if you didn't walk away? And if the answer to that is no, that you should have walked away because you wouldn't be able to respect yourself if you didn't, then maybe walking away is the right decision. Because it is about what are your core values. And honestly, like when I talk to people and when I chat to them about it, I'm not sure a lot of people, and this isn't a fault of theirs, this isn't saying that like people are bad, but I'm not sure people know what their core values are. Like, yeah. I think when they measure a good decision or bad decision, they're thinking about like, well, I don't want to lose this person, or I don't want to disappoint this person. And then those are valid. Those are valid, and you should measure like why you give the person such weight. But, I'm not sure people have core values, or at least aware of what drives them.
I can agree with that.
I mean, like go ahead, you go, maybe first.
No, go.
Like, I just think like people, they may not be able to identify their core values, but also like a lot of people think that they have to follow a path that's like, that was paved. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're all used to like, go to school, get an education, get a job, find a partner, get married, buy a house, have babies, right? Like there is a path that people think they must follow.
And a timeline with that path.
Right, a timeline of a path. And like, let's just say you do that, okay? And then it turns out to be exactly what you don't want. Do you are you going to like steer off the well-worn path, or are you going to veer forward on that path and be unhappy for the rest of your life? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a very tough spot that I'm sure a lot of people are in. You know, we're not going to sit here and be like, we're like the only ones who's gone through this. But
Yeah.
I'm sure, you know, lots of people are at a crossroad in their lives that they need to make a decision. And, you know, do you stay on the well-worn path, or do you veer off onto a dirt road and figure it out from there? Right?
Yeah.
I think
I
it's
am
moving
personally
to
veering
like,
onto a
oh,
dirt.
sorry.
No, you're okay. Go ahead.
No, go.
Oh, I'm just going off to the dirt road. Like, you know, like I'm all right. Get a little dirty. It's fine.
And there's
Yeah.
nothing
What were
wrong
you
with
gonna say,
that. And I
Meta?
think, no, I was just gonna say, like, I think that it's also like navigating through what you know, because we all find comfort in what we know. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it's like Steph was saying, like, you know, there's these timelines, and I think that was something that to this day, I kind of have a hard time. Maybe not as much, but I did have a hard time navigating, because at my age, I thought I would be in a different part of my life. I thought I was going to have different things in my life. And I made conscious choices of my own to put me where I am today. And to be honest with you, for a long time, when I made the decision that I made for my own life, I sat with a lot of resentment. I sat with a lot of anger. And that anger was portrayed outwards. And it was, you know, well, why did this person do this? And why did this person do that? And like, I shouldn't have had to go through that, and X, Y, and Z. And, you know, I've said it to Steph plenty of times that I'm just like, you know what? I've come now to a point where I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not mad at that person anymore. And I had to look at myself and say, you know, like, I made the conscious choice to stay in something that I did find comfort in. As bad as, you know, when I look back at it, the situation may have been, there was all these good times too, of course. But I think that it was just like you said, Isaac, like finding those values in myself and being like, okay, like, no, I do want better for myself. I do want this in a partner, and I do want this in my life. Like, I'll be very open with it. For quite some time, I kind of put having kids on the back burner. I was, you know, content being a stepmom. I was content being someone who didn't have her own kids. And I don't know what happened and what clicked. And, you know, there was always like, I think that little voice in my head that was like, yeah, no, like, you know, you want your own kids. Like growing up, I always wanted to be a mom. And that was a core value of mine, is like, you know what, I want to be a mom to my own children. And not to say that being a stepmom is not a good thing. Holy moly. I give full credit to all of the stepmoms and stepdads out there. Like, that is not an easy job. You are taking on children that are not your own. But I think that you need to have those tough conversations. And I forgot about myself in those conversations. So when I finally found myself and I found my voice again, you know, it was just a matter of being like, okay, well, this is what I really want in my life, and this is what I really value. And this is a non-negotiable. Like, I told Steph, I have a list of non-negotiables now. And things just didn't work out, and that's okay. You know, I'm so grateful for my past. I'm so grateful for the last person that I was with, because through him and through the decisions that him and I made every single day, and him choosing things that he valued in life and me choosing things that I valued in life, I've learned so much about myself. And if I look back at the Amanda of last year and I look at Amanda now in the mirror, it's exactly what you said, Isaac. I look at myself in the mirror now and I'm like, bitch, you did that. You chose yourself. You made that tough call. And I'm forever grateful for that. And yeah, so I agree with both points, but it's hard to know what your core values are. I think when you're so involved in something that might be shadowing what those values are.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
It is. So in life, there's like this balance, right? And I'm going to sound, cause I'm not even sure we've said this on the podcast. Y'all are in Canada. and I'm in Texas. So when we talk about individualism, I'm like in the center of rugged individualism in Texas, right? Here in America. But I also think like there's this balance of like individualism. I can do this, but then there's this balance between that and duty, like putting other people in front of you. And I do think that everybody needs that person or those people in life who could tell them no and who they kind of submit whatever they want to, right? And if you don't have that, I think it's I think it could get dangerous because I don't know, like my wife on certain things is my perspective on it. And what I want will be subservient to what my family needs. Right. And that's, I'm better at that than sometimes, but I always think that like people need that element of it too. What do I serve? What is above me? To kind of like give my talents and my strengths to. Does that make sense? Like I want to make myself better for a reason, not just to make myself better and to give it to something. Right. I don't know. That was rambling, but I've been wrestling with that a lot too. Like this past year and a half has really been a lot of growth. Not a year and a half. Like I want to say the past 3 years, there's been a lot of growth in me. But at the same time, like I always have to think of like, to what end? Who is better because I grew? Right? Like who is better because I'm stronger? And if I don't know, then I kind of have to check myself in some ways there too.
I feel like, I don't know, like I definitely mask like strength a lot with emotion, if that makes sense. Like I definitely like pivot to more strength than like the emotional side because I find that like, oh, you can't be weak. Like, you know what I mean? Like I have that mentality like, oh, like just being strong is like the end all be end all, I guess. And I'm trying to navigate through that now as I navigate through, you know, my choices and where I'm headed. So I'm trying to be a little bit more softer. And it definitely is like hard because, you know, I don't like giving up control, number one. And number two, I just feel like always being tough is just the way to go. Right? It's just like an easy deflection of your emotions, I guess. So I am trying to work on that. So I can see, you know, I can see the strong aspect and like where you need to be strong versus like where you don't need to be strong in life situations. So that's something that I'm definitely like navigating. It's hard. So I'll say that that's very hard and I will take full responsibility of that. That's, you know, very hard for me. People that know me know I'm super tough and they can come to me for anything. Yeah. So like, you know, and I try to put that tough front on constantly. And I feel like, you know, I'm trying to be more softer and I've caught myself being like, Sophia, you're fine. Like, you're tough. You know, I've caught myself doing that. And I'm like, Stephanie, don't do that. Because, you know, it's like a generational like thing, right? So I'm trying to break that. And as, you know, millennials, I'm not trying to do the soft approach, but I am trying to do a little bit more like happy medium. Like, you're fine. Like, get up. You know what I mean? But also like, are you okay? You know what I mean? So, but I'm also trying to navigate with that through myself. So I can I understand the whole like strong piece.
Well, and I also think too, particularly in parenting, understanding that like I have a role as a dad. I can't play every role. I can't play hard, soft, you know, all the things. Like I have a role that I fulfill. And it gets tricky. Like I'm very lucky where my wife is a very safe place if they do need to cry, if they do need to do that. And I think for us too, when you were talking about you being tough, like it only becomes an issue when you're being tough in a place that you should feel safe and that like you feel comfortable to feel safe in. And you go, oh, I don't have to be tough. That is that is a sign that you feel safe in that place. And if there's not a place where you do feel safe to practice not being tough, like that's when things can get exhausting. And I'm not even talking, that's not a male female thing. Like men need a place to feel safe, to like not have to be tough, you know, for a little bit. And for me, a lot of that is my Saturday runs with my buddy Terrence. Like we just talk while we work out, because there's still an element of being tough, you know, a little bit like there with the workout, like running and stuff like that. But like we just kind of talk about like, dude, like I messed up as like a dad, like I'm wrestling with this, like here's what the kids are going through, you know, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we're definitely, we'll be on a walk with Grayson, and Grayson starts to get a little far where we can't see him, and Kendra's initial reaction is to be like, hey, don't go too far. But then like I'm trying to balance to be like, no, we taught him well. Like he knows to look both ways. Like he has to learn how to trust himself to cross the street by himself. And he's of that age where he should be able to. Like in the elementary school, I forget which parent. I was talking to some parent, and they were in the elementary school, and they're like, a lot of the kids in kindergarten don't know how to tie their shoes. Like that's wild.
Yeah.
Like that's wild. And even like our son doesn't know how to. And I'm like, there's just, I don't know. I understand the soft spot, but then there's also, we need to instill in kids too how to trust themselves, because ultimately, like Amanda, you were talking about being the age that you are and like having to kind of learn how to make decisions. Like we're having to learn how to trust ourselves with decisions way too late in life. You know, and that's why it feels the way that it does, is because we haven't learned how to trust ourselves with decision making. And because we always have to make the right one. And there's the pressure of making the right choice all the time, where it's like, there's going to be some choices that you make that are wrong. Like the skill is owning it. The skill is going, yep, that was bad. That's on me. Now what? You know, and it doesn't say that you're a good or bad person. It's just, that's on me.
I think it's also, I just made my screen really bright. My bad, guys. I think it's also, I don't know about you guys, like obviously everyone had a different upbringing, but I think it really goes down to our upbringing as well when it comes to that side of things. I wasn't, not, I don't like, I love my parents. They did a great job, you know, and I think that's something that I've also learned, is that parents, it's your first time doing it, guys. It's your first time being parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but our parents, it was the same thing for them. And it's just a matter of like, you kind of going back to the whole, like providing a safe space for you to feel certain emotions. Like for a very long time, if I expressed emotions, like I was almost, I don't want to say like ridiculed for it, but like I was very much so like, no, you can't cry. Like, what are you crying for? Like, just suck it up. Like, you're fine. And so as the years went by, that was the norm. Like, I was just like, I would cry and I'd be like, you know, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I think I've said it on a podcast before, maybe not, but I suffer from anxiety. So, honey, my emotions are sometimes all over the map, you know? And I went through different situations
Your
in life
Canadian
where
came out with the, you know,
you know, you know? Oh my God, stop. That probably sounded so Canadian for all the American listeners on here. I'm going to drop an A. I'm going to say something like that.
I'll probably drop some y'alls here. I mean, it's okay. Well, we're just doing the thing. We're just doing some things.
That's it. But yeah, so I think it was just like, you know, growing up as well in like households that unfortunately weren't able to feel that safety that we're talking about. And so it's almost second nature when we have kids where it's like, okay, no, you're fine. Like, get up. But I think like finding that safety as well in our surroundings and understanding that we also kind of have control in choosing our environments. I think that's another thing, is that a lot of people don't realize when they're like, oh, like, you know, I can't be this way. And like, I've talked to Steph about it. Like, I think once certain things happen in Steph's life where she can be in a better place, her emotions, her everything about her, I think she'll feel a shift. And that's just with due time, you know, and that'll just translate into everything that happens with Sophia, with her daughter. But I know for myself, like going from where I was before, my upbringing until now, God, this feminine stuff, this softness, I cry at everything now. Like I'm literally tearing up and crying but I realized, like at first I remember thinking like same thing as stuff, like why am I crying? Like I should be strong. Like what is this? Like what's happening? And my partner, like the person I'm with now, like he was just like, no, like this is like, I want you to be this, like to feel this. I want you to be able to express yourself. And I didn't realize it until like a little bit in where I'm like, holy, like I have so much, and I'm not trying to like gloat, but I'm just saying like I just have this emotional safety now in my own home, which I didn't feel like I had for a really long time. So feeling emotional or feeling that
but
side of things, that doesn't mean
that.
anything about you not being weak. You know what I mean? And like, I know I've said that to Steph, like Steph will call me and like she'll cry and like I'm just like, let it out. Like, and Steph's the same thing with me when I'm crying. Like Steph knows, like she's like, all right, like we just know, like when we get to that point.
Amanda is my safe space. Amanda is my safe space.
But yeah, like I said, I think that there's still a lot going on in life right now for you, Steph, right? And I think that it's just kind of the beginning of everything. And that's not to say that once again, once you persevere through this decision that you've made for yourself, you will get to the other side of it. You will. And once you get to that point, don't be surprised if like you're emotional too at it and you're just like, oh my God, like I waited for this moment. So yeah, I think that's something that we should I think that's something that we should also allow our kids to feel, is that emotional safety.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, knowing, I think there's confidence that everything's going to work out and that right decisions were made. But like because Stephanie, you're in it. How do you deal with knowing it before experiencing it, before getting to that point? How are you dealing with that point, the in between those 2 points?
I mean, I'm gonna say it's fine, because I always say it's fine. I mean, I feel like the build up before the actual like decision was made was probably the hardest time of my life. Like I was stressed every single day. Like truly. Now I have a lot of relief of the decision that I've made and the decision is out there. Now it's just more or less navigating through like getting through like how do we deal with this? How do you co-parent? How do you balance like not arguing over stupid things because the garbage wasn't taken out or whatever, right? So it's just navigating that still, because like with obviously everything going on with like the climate of our market in Canada, there's no way to kind of escape at the moment. So, just kind of navigating through that. So it's more or less like, honestly, like from how I felt in January to how I feel present day, it's much better. Like a weight has been lifted, and I feel like I am starting to evolve, and come into like a different person. Like I saw a quote that said, let me find it because that literally made me think. And I was like, okay, I need to share this today. 1 second. Please hold. If it loads. Oh, there we go. Okay. It was like, I'm different now. You got to meet me again. So I feel like that's how I'm starting to feel. Like people that knew me in my marriage don't really know me now. And I feel like, it's just like different, and it's a good different, right? Like, I'll be honest, like I wouldn't have gone through a lot of this without Amanda. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it was so hard when I had to make that decision, and she was right there to catch me, because I was like,
not to
I
say
need
that
help.
I told her to make
like,
this decision. By the way, it was more so going back to what I was saying in the beginning. Like I was, firsthand seeing a lot of what was happening with Steph, and it's not that the other person in this is a bad person, because he's not. He's genuinely not. Like, but it's just, there was certain things that I could see, like I could see the Steph that I knew from years ago, she was just not there anymore. Like she was dwindling. Like she was just like it was almost like looking at a shell and you just weren't seeing who she really was as a person. And, you know, I remember there was just like a moment, I think, if Steph, I don't know if you remember that, you know, like something happened and I said to Steph, I'm like, Steph, I don't even think you realize just how much this whole thing leading up to this has affected you. And I said, I'm like, at the end of the day, you have to think about yourself. You have to think about your daughter. And you both need to just make the decision that's best for the both of you. Because sometimes making that decision, you being together, just because you have a child, I think this is something that I've always said, and I say this also because of my parents, just because you have a child doesn't mean that you need to stay in that relationship, that you have to stay in that marriage. I think that's something that people kind of get lost in. They're like, you know, well, we have a kid and like, you know, it's tough because we have 100%. I'm not saying it's easy by any means. It's not easy when you have a third party involved. But you have to think about the flip side of, if this genuinely can't be civil, can't work, what kind of life are you setting up for this child, for their future? Because you're their prime example of what they need to look for in a partner as they grow up. And it's a lot of pressure, but it's true. And if you lose yourself, how can you be a parent for your child? That's just my own, to each their own, but that's just my own, that's my mindset. And like I said, I think it's because with my parents, you know, like I love my parents, like I said, they separated later on in life. My brother and I were already out of the house. But even when it happened, my brother and I were like, this was 30 years in the making. And because of that, I made decisions for myself that now I look back on and I'm like, even I've talked to my therapist and my therapist is like, who does that sound like? And I'm like, it sounds like my parents. And it's like, well, do you want a relationship like your parent? Mm-hmm. No. Not to talk badly about them. They are fantastic now being separated. Love you, mom and dad. But I'm just saying, like, I told Steph, you need to really think about what's best for you, because ultimately what's best for you is what's going to be best for Sophia.
Mm-hmm. I feel like people and I feel like a lot of people, honestly, like no matter what situations are in life, whether you're dating, you're engaged, you're married, you're like 10 years married, like I'm now realizing that if you're not happy, get out. Like just because you have a kid doesn't mean you're trapped for the rest of your life. And like you can always, I will always have love for, you know, my partner, my ex-partner. I will always have love for him. You know, he's a great dad. We just grew apart, and that's okay. And that is also okay because shit happens, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? So, and it's also okay. And I think like people are like, well, if people will say, people always say, you should have tried harder. Well, Suzanne, you know what? Maybe I just didn't want to because I was tired. Do you know what I mean?
That felt very specific, Suzanne. And I don't know, Suzanne, I don't know who that is, but
I don't know Suzanne either, but I'm just saying. Suzanne. Like, you know? I'm just saying.
You know what you did,
like,
Suzanne. You know what you did.
Right.
Gosh.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm just tired. Like, you're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to be tired.
Yeah. Well,
you know?
And I also think like there's an element of coming to terms with the fact, and I think I've said this I think in another conversation on another podcast, when things like this happens, you have to come to terms with the fact that you are going to be the villain in somebody's story.
Oh my!
Like, and there's nothing that you can do about it.
Absolutely.
Like there's that's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. Right? I mean, it's going to happen, and sometimes you don't even realize. Like, there's not a pivotal moment. Like, I think about how there's probably people in high school who I treated poorly, who like, I'm the villain in their story, and I'm the reason why they say they are X, Y, and Z, and I don't even know, right? Like, you just have to, you have to come to terms with it. When like when I got divorced, My ex-wife was or is I think, I don't know, a photographer, and she had like a whole campaign taking free pictures of girls, and it was like this whole woman empowerment thing. But like part of the hook was that she had gotten out of an abusive marriage, and I had never done anything
Oh,
like that.
wow.
And so I have to come to terms with that like I'm going to be the villain. There's nothing that I can do about that. And so I just have to be okay with it and like, and go forward. And yes, did I do things absolutely to hurt her? 100%, 120%. And some things that people would say about me that would make me look horrible, the craziest thing about them is that a lot of what would be said is true. But like I have to live with that. Right? Like I have to live with the fact that I'm the villain of it, and I have to move forward. Right? And now, you know, Kendra and I have 2 kiddos, and this September we'll be 13 years married, right? 15 years
Oh,
together.
wow.
Yeah.
And so like that is like, that's nuts, and that's an accomplishment, but like I'm always going to be the villain in some people's story, and I'm okay with that. I'm
I
absolutely okay
can't
with
wait
that.
until I
Like
get to
some
that
things
point.
like so where are you? Where are you in that story arc?
Honestly, I think it's so crazy because, like, I don't know if it's just like how much, like you were saying, you know, there's been so much growth in the 3 years for you, and Steph can be my witness. Like, in the last year, I've had so much growth. And I just think that, like, I get that whole thing about like being a villain in someone's story. It's just so crazy to me in my situation, I should say, because it's just crazy that, like, when you choose yourself, somehow, some way, you're the bad guy. And like I said, I'm not here to, you know, I genuinely have nothing bad to say about my ex. Like, him and I are on very civil terms. I wish him genuinely nothing but the best. Even in my story, he's not my villain anymore. To be honest with you, like, and I've been very open with my partner about this, like, I will forever have love in my heart for him because there was such a past, there was such a history. Um, but yeah, I just feel like there's just certain views on me, and like even to this day, like making decisions for myself, there's just I just, without being told, I just know that people see me a certain type of way. Um Even just through interactions, like, I don't want to get too specific, but like there was an interaction with someone in his family that like I hadn't really spoken to in so long, and it was just like this picture that was painted of me that I was, you know, someone who was going out of my way to like cause drama. And I'm not gonna lie, I called him and I said, hey, like, this is what's going on. I just want to confirm and let you know. Like, I was very open with him. And it's just because I feel like, what's the like what's the point of making me seem like the bad guy?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know? So I think I'm slowly getting to that point, but I think my biggest thing is when my character gets questioned. I don't like that at all.
Mm-hmm.
And
No,
I
I
think
agree.
that another thing that is very hard for people is when people see other people happy. That's very difficult for some people. When they're, you know, and it's just like, I've had to go through a few things last year, and you know, it was really tough, and I'm now at a point in my life where, and I think I said this on the last podcast, and I'm saying this because my cousins kept saying that this was my phrase, and this is genuinely my phrase. The people that know, they know for a reason.
Yeah.
And I still live by that because you know, I know I'm kind of like veering off the whole villain thing, but it just kind of like ties two and two, because it's like, because I was the villain, I had to then be quiet about my own life and be like, you know, like hush hush and all these things. And then I went through and stuff, like such a tough time the beginning of this year. You know, I lost my grandmother in February, and I don't want to get emotional, but like, she was someone I wanted there when I got married. That was huge, huge for me. And my ex knew that. And that was a conversation that him and I had. That, you know, and he's like, I can only imagine how you feel about me now. And I said to him, you know what? At the end of the day, you're still not the villain, because I still made conscious choices to be in a situation that led me to where I am now. I can't make you the villain because I'm the one who made choices in my day-to-day life. But my grandmother passing, oh, that was like, Amanda went from still considering other people's emotions and feelings because I didn't want to be the villain to, yeah, no. Now you're navigating life for you and you're making choices for you. I'm the only person that's going to live my own life. Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
And that's that.
Sorry?
You're like, and that's that.
I could go on forever about it because I just feel so strongly about it. I think that's what it is. Yeah. Like, Steph knows. I feel so strongly about
I was in the dirt with her. Don't worry. I was being dragged along behind. I was like, I'm coming. Wait for me.
And it's so crazy because, like, so I'm gonna bring up someone in my life who's a very, and like Steph knows, like, she's a very big part of my life right now. You know, my friend Brittany, love her to death, and she still has ties to my ex because it's his sister-in-law. But her and I have done such an amazing job of being like, this is my life, this is your life, and this is his life. And we've set a line. And it just kind of goes to show that, like, just because you think that there's these ties to your past, if you really value something and you really set boundaries, that's another big thing. You got to set boundaries. 100%. Her and I have such a great friendship. And there's no conversations about my ex. There's no conversation about my past. We focus on what's going on in life now. You know, her kids, her life. Like, it's so nice. Like, I don't need to, you know, oh, hey, what's going on in his life? What's the point of, sorry guys. I can literally go on about this.
It's true, but it's true though. It's all about setting boundaries, right? And I feel like if we don't set boundaries in any aspect of any type of relationship, friendship, relationship, whatever, situationship, it's just never, it's never, like, boundaries are very important. I agree. And, like, I think that's where you have come, like, a full rise above, because you just have set that boundary where you don't care what's happening, where the outside noise is happening. And that's a wonderful thing. And I'm very, like, it's very, like, admirable to see that and see how well you've put that line out and that boundary, because it's tough. It's so hard. Me on the other hand, I was going to just cut somebody out and be like, see ya.
Yeah, Steph
Take
is
it to the curb.
Although I've had conversations with Steph where I'm just like, this person needs to go. Like, what are we doing? Like, what's happening here?
But usually we'll just take them to the curb like trash. Like, let's go.
Sorry. But like, Isaac, like yourself, for example, like, have you ever encountered, like, besides, you know, like, have you ever encountered a time where you had to make that call, where you had to, like, kind of be like, you know, make a tough decision and be like, yeah, okay, no, like, you know, you gotta go?
It's funny that you asked that, because I almost approach it from the opposite direction, where I don't consciously think about who I need to cut off. I'm more conscious about who I need to let in and create time for that. And so, like, for me, if I, like, quote, cut somebody off, it's because there's 24 hours in a day and, like, I decided to give other people my time. Right. Like, so for example, when we talked about, like, parents being human and, like, it's their first time doing it too. You know, my dad can be, volatile, not in the sense of, like, physical or, like, anything like that, but, like, in the sense of, he may have needed you to call one day and you didn't know that. And instead of calling you, like, you didn't call. And so he's super hurt and he'll get bitter and, like, not talk to you for a little bit. Or, like, if you call, there'll be, like, attitude or whatever. And so for me, instead of going, oh, well, I'm just cutting you off if that's the way, like, I don't need that. What I'll do is I'll just be like, you know what? You obviously need time. I'm going to let you have that time. And so, like, I have two great kids and like wonderful people who are adding to the goals that I have right now. And so I've approached it the other way. I more create space for the things that I want versus like needing to set a boundary for like people who I don't, you know? And I don't know, that has had benefits because that definitely has decreased drama because I don't need to like make a big thing because I'm not like having to have a conversation of bye-bye, you know? But like, so that's the good thing is drama is very limited. However, having those conversations, hard conversations are a skill, right? Like I'm probably going to need to have those conversations to protect the kids, right? And not have certain people around, or, you know, if I know that certain people aren't dependable and are just going to let my kids down, I'm probably not going to want them around my kids. And so that's probably going to have to be a little bit more of a deliberate conversation. So it's good and bad. It's good and bad, but I've been very good at, just being around the people who I need to be around. And that's, I guess it's really funny because that's also meant that I'm not a very needy person. Like if I text you and I'm like, hey, what's up? Like just thinking about you, blah, 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 blah. Like I really don't need a response. Like I 100% don't need a response because me reaching out wasn't for me, I just thought about somebody. And so I texted them, and if they respond, great. If they don't, I don't care. Right. I just like moved on with my day. And some people are like, well, I asked them if they could hang out and they never have time. I'm like, okay, cool. Like they just don't have time. Like they have a life too, you know? I'm never have been drama that way. Yeah, there's been, I just like think of like the benefits and drawbacks to that though too. Like when I say that I've grown in the past, and when I say that I've grown in the past year and a half, one of the realizations, and I'm not sure if I've grown in it, but one of the realizations that I've learned, because we've been talking about breakups and like all that kind of stuff, is I grew up in the 90s when parents were, it is so important that you tell your kids that like, it is not their fault. Like it is not their fault. And like they need to know that. And so my parents did, like, that's what everybody was doing. My parents told us, I was in kindergarten. Right. And this is a thing between mommy and daddy, and that we both love you so much, blah, 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 all that story. And I understood that. I 100% understood that it was not my fault and that was okay. But here's the way I internalized it is you were not the cause of the problem, but mommy and daddy have big problems and it's your job not to add to it. And so I dealt with a lot of things when I needed help and didn't ask for help from them because I didn't want to add to their problems. Or I took on things at work where I needed to ask for help and I didn't ask for help and I just drowned it in work and ended up failing in things because I didn't want to add to somebody else's problems. And if I took on too much, that's my problem. That's not anybody else's problem. Right. And so I can't ask for help because of that. So this past year and a half has been like, no, like you need to bring people in. You need to bring people in. Asking for help early is like would have saved you so much pain and so much hurt. And so that's been a thing. That's been one of my growing spots in it.
I mean, I feel like growth is just an ongoing thing even until we get old and gray, guys. We are going to be growing as the years go by.
And every good decision still has bad things that'll happen as a result. Like no good decision is all good. Because humans gonna human, right? Yep. Even the move to Austin, and I don't think I've said it here, but like, oh yeah, I think we did bring it up. Like me and my son's relationship, we're barely turning the corner where he can trust that I'm going to be around, even though it was the right decision you can't control. Everybody's going to react to different things in different ways, and it has nothing to do with you. It could be trigger something from their past. That like, this is exactly why, blah, 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 like whatever. There's a million reasons why somebody can think something. And so you just kind of have to let them think it.
I think
A
that's
million
such a good point. Like you can only control you can't control someone else's actions, you can only control how you react to them.
Yep.
Right? Like and I think that's one thing now. Like I am trying to realize as well as I'm growing, because growth, as Amanda says, it's just ongoing. It is every day. Like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have responded that way, or maybe I shouldn't have like hit send when I was like, I was being a little spicy. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So like,
send. I thought that was a person. I was
no,
like,
like
wait, who
send,
are
like
you?
hit
Like,
send,
wait, what?
like hit
I was like,
send.
wait, what did she just say?
There's
Yes,
Suzanne, there's Sam.
I know this
send,
is like, who are
like
these
hit
people
send.
who are just catching strays
I
over
haven't even heard
there?
of them, so
No, I know. No, and it's just like it's all, you cannot control how someone else is going to react to
Yeah.
anything. Whether it's a decision you've made, something you said, that's on them. How someone takes something truly is on them. And if they get triggered by things, that's on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you can come from the most I don't know. I don't since I've met Amanda, we're now in our 7th year of our relationship, and I have grown so much because of her. Like I've learned how to express more with how I feel.
She,
no,
But
what
I
I'm
feel-
gonna say is I'm the type of chick that now especially will be like, I don't care if this hurts your feelings.
Yeah,
You
literally. I was
need
about to
to
say.
hear it.
I was
See,
about to say,
Bottom
that's-
line.
is that the title of this
Because you know what,
episode?
at the end
I'm
of
the type of chick, you know?
Yeah, literally. I'm the
But
type
no,
of
because
chick.
you know what I think the thing is that like, and you know, I just think that you need to have that friend that you, when they come to you, like Steph sometimes will say something to me and I'm like, okay, yes, but let's look at it from this perspective. And I know Steph doesn't want to hear it. Steph wants me to egg on what she's saying. I know she does. But I'm not going to sit there and egg it on because I'm like, no, babe, like this is where life's at. This is what you need to hear.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I wish that someone was there, because you know what's funny is like after I got out of my relationship is when everybody said, you know, I didn't say it to you then, but this, and this. And Steph did it
That's
to me.
so
She's like, well, I didn't
annoying.
want to say
I
it to
know.
you, but this, and this. And like, even to this day, like I met up with my childhood best friend and we were sitting there and she was like, you know, like, because we don't talk all the time, but her and I have like this like super low maintenance friendship where it's like we can talk after 2 months and we just pick up and like it's like no time has been wasted. I love her dearly for this. And she even said, she goes, you know, I never asked you, but like even when we would talk or when we would have conversations, you never sounded like the Amanda that I used to know. She's like, you know, I knew something was going on because she's like, and I'm just like, why didn't you say anything to me? You know what I mean? Like maybe back then I didn't want to hear it 100%, but it's like, I just wish I had someone. Like, if I'm being frank with you guys, the night that I ended my last relationship last year, the amount of people that were just like, well, yeah, Amanda, like you didn't seem like yourself. You didn't come around. You this, you guys, it's been almost 4 years. Why am I hearing it now? Like,
Yeah.
what's happening? You know, but anyways, yeah. So Steph, I'm not chick for you.
That's another tough pill to swallow too. Like it's also been the same for me. Like, and you just wonder why people didn't say shit about fuck. Like you're like, hello.
Kids, don't listen to this podcast.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hello?
I know.
Like, why didn't you say anything?
We call those anti-words in this
Yeah.
house.
Honestly, that's a fact. I'm an auntie, and
Yeah, like,
I
why
drop
did-
the F-bomb, and I look, and I'm
Oh,
like, oh,
yeah.
my bad.
Oh no. Why didn't, and you know, again, like I said the same thing to Amanda. Like I was like, oh God, thank God. Like, you know what I mean? Like I reacted that way too. But in her time in her relationship, I wasn't going to say that because I thought in that moment she was happy until things started to become unhappy.
And it's not to
Yeah.
say that I wasn't happy, and I think that's something that,
No,
like I was
exactly.
saying earlier, it's
But
not just that I
exactly.
wasn't. It's just there was so much that happened behind closed doors that I wish I saw my value in myself and my self-worth a lot more. And it kind of goes down to like, you know, Isaac, like you had mentioned earlier, how sometimes you got to be like selfless and kind of like, you know, see like what you can do to like help someone, like, you know what I mean? Like be better for someone else. Remember? The problem with what I was doing is that I was forgetting about myself in order for this person to be happy and have what he wanted. And like I said, it's not to say that I wasn't happy, but it was just, I slowly started to lose myself. And then I found myself. And I think that's like my boyfriend now. Oh, God bless this man. The patience this man has with me. Because I still can get very like snappy. Because like,
No.
you know, I'm so high strung now on like my self-worth and like me and choosing me. And I've said that to him before. I'm like, okay, well, listen, like I'm going to choose myself here, and I'm not just going to quiet my voice because this is how the situation's going. Guys, give me 10 minutes and then I'll message him or call and be like, okay, listen, I'm really sorry I thought about it. I shouldn't have reacted that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little more self-aware now. But he gives me that space, and like he's constantly like not once has this man been upset with me, raised his tone with me. He is quite literally like, I'm all this fire, and he will just come and like hold me, and he'll be like, do you feel better now, babe? Are you done now? Like, are you okay? Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, and I literally just melt, and I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. My bad.
So here's,
but it's just, you know,
here's a question. Here's a question, and it's actually kind of a hard one, because a lot of this conversation is centered around growing and developing and finding yourself and being comfortable with yourself. What is the one thing that comes to mind that you need to stop doing in order to be the person you need to be, that you are currently doing, that's stopping you from being the person you need to be?
Putting my pride. Sometimes I'm a little too prideful.
I was about to say the same fucking thing.
What does that look like? What does that look like practically?
Steph, you go ahead first.
Okay. So just being like, I'm gonna bring it back to the toughness, because that's what I hide behind, is being just like a badass, you know, bitch. My mom always says you don't need to be. My mom always says you don't need to be so tough, you know. And it also ties in with pride, because I never want to show weakness to somebody if they're getting to me. Like, I never want someone to see that they're getting to me. But on the flip side, I'm also discovering my self-worth and how much value I bring to a table, and how I actually am the fucking table. So, with that being said, it's pride for sure. 100%. I agree with Amanda. It's definitely like, and just being like, oh yeah, like I'm tough, like I can take it all, like I can handle it by myself. You know, eventually I'm not going to want to just handle it by myself, you know? And I know right now that's just where I am at, because I'm trying to get through where I'm at. And I know eventually that will come. That soft peace will come. But I'm with Amanda. It's definitely pride.
Girl, we're gonna find you, man. Like, I don't carry any bags. I don't carry bags. I will go to this man's house with a bag for overnight stay, and he will be like, leave it in your car. I will not. In the beginning, I'm like, I can take care of it myself. I don't need you to carry my bags for me. Now, my arms don't work. What bag? What do you mean? You're carrying the bag. I'm not carrying the bag. I'm that chick now, guys. And I told Steph that. I literally said that to Steph. Like, Steph, we're finding your mom's going to carry your bags. You don't need to carry a thing in your life.
My bags and my suitcase.
Carry my bags, please.
My suitcase.
All Chanel. All of it Chanel.
Oh, yeah, look. Isaac knows. Not me. Isaac knows.
Not I.
So what does that look like then, Steph, like practically tomorrow for you?
Tomorrow?
Because I think that's an idea. I think that's like an idea of like, my pride, but like, what is that, as you're going through this process, what does that look like tomorrow?
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know, like, as pride goes, like, I don't know, trying not to, let's say like a conversation is brought up and it's just like, well, I don't even know how to bring up, I don't even know what to say, like, I don't know, it's a work in progress, Isaac. So
I'm just saying, if this is the thing, I mean, it's not about fixing it. It's about what the next step is. You know, your responsibility isn't everything right now, because there's a lot of, even your situation, your circumstance doesn't allow everything to be done, but it is about the next step that you're responsible for, you know?
And what you have control over.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, that's more like my happiness ultimately, and Sophia's happiness. She's happy. Of course, she's always happy because she doesn't, know anything. But for me, it's just more my happiness. And whether someone thinks that's selfish or not, if I'm happy, my child is happy. If I'm safe, my child is safe. You know what I mean? So, like, if I feel like I can be feminine and soft and be, like, held and taken care of, like, then my child will always be safe and feel that as she grows up. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like it's more or less for going, like, pushing forward to be to focus on, like, my own happiness and my goals. Because I can still be a mom, a great mom, and still work on my goals. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
100%.
I feel, I think that's what tomorrow would look like. Focusing on my happiness.
Okay. All right. Amanda, what about you?
Honestly, pride for me, I think, is because with my situation is I let so much slide in the past that, like, now, if anything comes up that provides even a sense of inconvenience in my life or what I feel like will be an inconvenience, I'm very, like, snappy. I'm very it's kind of in the same front as what Steph was saying, to protect my heart sometimes. Like, I'm a lot better now with the time that has gone by, but it was very much so like I would close off because I was just, like, too prideful to, like, even show this person that I was feeling a type of way. I was too prideful to be like, well, your actions actually did have an effect on me. Like, that was something that I had a problem with in the beginning. And I think what I've been able to navigate is that pride will quite literally, it has the potential to ruin a lot of really good things in your life. And I think I say that too because of past situations that I've been through. So it's just a matter of being like, there's, like, your pride and your ego, and that's just going to cause more drama in your life. And that doesn't feed into your happiness, truly and honestly. Like, it doesn't. Not to say that you need to, like, always bend over backwards for people. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I think there's a fine line between what I'm saying, like, anyways, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, that's what pride is to me. The girl just needs to take a seat sometimes and reflect on how she feels before she starts speaking out of her mouth, like, I am my father's daughter. Yeah.
I need to not push when I get close to a goal. I need to trust myself with a goal. In life. And so, like, right now, at work, I've had some breakthroughs. Like, for example, I used to tell myself, I caught myself to say I'm always, because that's not true. I would think of myself as the person who's, like, just good enough, just talented enough, just good at something to be better than most, but never the elite at something. And I would sabotage myself, like crazy sabotage myself. And it would show up in weird ways. So, for example, and this isn't like, but it's just an example of what. Back in the day, in 2010, I had made it to Hollywood for American Idol. And so, like, auditioned, like, it was like, oh, it's whatever. It's whatever. Like, dude, it's a very 2010 thing. And so I, like, did an audition on MySpace. MySpace was trying to make a comeback, and they were like, oh, you could do video auditions through there, whatever. And so I did it and got a call and went to Hollywood. First audition went really well. And then, for whatever reason, there was a block in my brain of, like, you don't deserve the next thing. And so I sang one song, and they were like, okay, yeah, like, that was good. Can you sing something, like, more contemporary? And, like, I froze. like 100% froze. And so I like sang a song, but it was like definitely half-assed, like, and was okay like with it. But that has shown up in so many ways, like trying to get a promotion. I was always like really good, but then like could never get the yes on the one that like really mattered. And until finally now I'm like learning little by little to trust myself. And whenever I get close, I don't need to push. I can trust myself with getting the goal. You know, I can trust myself with it. And then the goal itself is not, I'm learning to like not find value in the goal or where I want to end up. Like there is so much value in the pursuit of it, in like the process of doing the things and the people you meet in the process of doing the things. Like in my failures, for whatever reason, that's when like relationships get sticky or at your lowest, because those are your ride or dies. Those are the people who even if you brought it on yourself, I know, Amanda, when you were talking about like your character being questioned, like that's your pet peeve. Well, with my mistake that I made, it was a character flaw that caused, like, I deserve to have my character questioned. Like, for example, my divorce happened because Kendra and I started while I was married, like just flat out. That is a character mistake. 100% my fault. 100% my fault. And the hurt that I caused from it, 100% my fault. My ex-wife should not think I was a good person because that's me. Right? But the people who you meet who like stick by you, who are still your friends, even though you made a mistake, like they're not going to leave. And you end up finding out that number of people is pretty small. Like the people who you meet when you get told no for a promotion, but like stick by you on like, well, let's talk, like, let's meet when you have nothing to offer. Those are the people who are sticky. And so when you're going, the goal for me and the high of hitting the goal has become so much less important than like trusting myself with going through it. And so, for me, that's kind of the biggest thing, is whenever I don't feel confident and whenever I don't feel like I can trust myself, I feel myself start to push again. And it's catching myself as early as possible, because my physiology changes when that happens. Like I can feel me walking through my day different. And if I can nip that in the bud and learn to trust, like go do a workout so I can trust myself with my health, or like go do whatever, it helps a ton for me. So yeah, that's mine.
But that also comes with self-awareness, which is huge. And I don't think a lot of people have that. So that's huge.
I can feel it so early in the process now, where like my chest tightens, like, yeah. And but now, just because I feel it doesn't mean I know what to do about it right away. Right?
Yeah,
like that's the tricky,
like,
but like, yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
One thing that I've gotten better at though is like always saying yes to my family and not fearing letting other people down, and like putting my family second because I said yes to this thing, even if it's an opportunity that I would want. Right. I'm okay with other people being disappointed in me, and I'm becoming less okay with like the disappointment coming from my closest circle. And that's, I've made decisions based on that recently that I've been really, really proud of. Because what good is like somebody who hasn't seen me at my highs and lows if they think I'm the greatest person, if my son thinks I'm garbage?
Yeah.
Like that, that has been a thing. And he doesn't have to think I'm perfect. Like I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to do all that, but like, why not have that conversation with him? Hey, like daddy kind of blew up there, and here's why daddy made that decision, and here's why that wasn't the right decision. And like, here's what daddy's going to try next time I feel that way. Like,
which will also, I think, help with his growth as well, because like that's also bringing self-awareness, like for him in his future, where he'll be like, oh, okay, like where did where is something that I did? Where can I grow from? Like, what can I do better in that situation? Because that's what my dad used to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that we realize like how much, like something even as simple as that, how that'll translate with him and how he'll take that on with him later on in life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I say that like I do that every single time. I'm definitely not perfect at it, but like it's really crazy because our kids don't need us to be perfect. Right? Like our and like when we think we're doing perfect, you'll have two kids and one will respond really well and the other one will be like, that was the worst thing ever and that scarred me and this is the reason why I am like because
there's no winning.
Yeah, that it's not. So like it, and that is like the humble, like that keeps you humble because ultimately when they're older, they'll understand the heart behind it. Like there's a tipping point when your parents are allowed to be human to you. And you're like, dang, how old were you when you had me? And I only came out with those scars. Well done. Like I only came out with that trauma. Like I should have had a lot more knowing what you went through. Like we made it. High five. Like there's a tipping point when that happens with your parents and they're allowed to be human. And it's a beautiful moment when that happens. Well, I'm not sure if you've noticed in all of our video things, but it has gotten progressively darker for all of us.
It has, I know.
It has. And so y'all, I mean, thank you for coming on again. I always love our conversations. It's always so good. One.
Yeah. We were just talking about working out this time.
Right. Yeah. Even though that was fun. And I heard that Miami was fantastic, you know? I mean, or did they say Miami?
Was great.
Yeah. Fantastic. I've thought about doing a high rocks, but I'm like, nah, I'm just going to run long distances. I think I'm just going to lift heavy things and run long distances. When you post your runs
though, I'm just like, this guy's killing it. Like I try, like, yeah. We force ourselves through high rocks. That's, you know,
the 20 miler, the 20-mile trail race was a whole other thing. We got a half marathon here in like a month. And then I have nothing else after that. So we'll see if it stays that way. But you guys, y'all are amazing. And if our stories, I mean, this is just like, hey, you go through it. I've been through it too. That's all this episode was. But if it touched you, if you related to it, definitely subscribe. And as always, not because you need more subscribers, not because of that. But because that's the rules of the game to this thing called podcasting. Leave a review, subscribe, and remember, do something to make you proud of you this week, all right?